Hey everyone, Dan here. Today I wanted to go over four stocks that I think are really well positioned to have some good growth in the coming days and weeks. And before we get into it, a very small percentage of the folks who watch these videos are subscribed to the channel. So I would just ask that if you aren't subscribed yet, but you commonly watch these videos or you enjoy them, if you could hit that subscribe button, it would help. Also, if you're on Reddit or Twitter or Facebook or anywhere else that you share things, feel free to share any of the videos that you like. That helps out a lot too. And let's get right into it. So IPOE is still set to merge with SoFi. The ticker symbol hasn't switched over yet, as you can see. Setting that aside, I wanted to look at basically, what I see as sort of like the points in IPOE's favor and what you might be able to look for in the days ahead if you're looking for an entry. So this is on the 1 hour chart. A few things. So if you look at the MAs here, the moving averages, the 20 has recently crossed over the 50 and has continued to diverge from it. So that's a good sign. So even though the price action is below it right now, I still think that that's okay. And I'll kind of explain why. So, the RSI is currently at 48, so that's in a really good spot. It could take a little more of a breath to get closer to 30. It commonly does that, as you see back here. And then, we'll stretch up towards 70 or over 70 before it comes back down again. So it's a common runner between, say 35 to 65. So that's why I think it's okay that it's coming down a little bit. And also on the MACD, you see this, on the histogram, you see this red valley is deeper than the most current red valley. So as long as that stays consistent and this valley doesn't become deeper than this one, then I would say we're still in a bullish trend because this green hill on the histogram was lower than this more recent green hill. So we have a bullish look on the upward side and a diminishing downward side. So those are all good signs, and no bearish divergence here on the MACD. So RSI, like I said, could come down a little bit more. So far, the histogram's looking good, the MACD is looking fine. Crossover, the 20 to the 50. The one thing I would be very cautious of, though, is in case you see IPOE's price activity fall below the MA50, which would probably cause this histogram to come down deeper than this previous one. It may be coming down to fill this gap, which would bring it all the way down to about 1650 if it doesn't come back down to test this more recent low of 1630 even. So if it gets down there, I would watch it to see if there's a good dip buying opportunity there. This video isn't specifically for dip buys, but I did want to throw in that sort of like point of caution that you should watch out for that. But otherwise, we have a few things working in the bullish favor that you should just keep an eye on and see how they play out in the coming days. CLOV, which we haven't talked about in a long time, but it had a big run up yesterday and wanted to talk about it. So you can ignore the blue lines here. That's from an old analysis that I had done. But let's talk about what's going on with CLOV. So it's shot up. The MA20 has crossed over the MA50 and is holding and is continuing. It has the most real estate now that it's had since it crossed over. So that's a good sign. The RSI is just at 49.75. So it's not in a bad spot if you're looking to take an entry from, it's certainly not overbought. And then on the MACD, this is the most questionable of the entire thing, is I'm just noticing something else here too. So we'll talk about it in a sec. But this initial green hill, is certainly much bigger right now than this red valley. So if that continues to hold and the next green hill is much higher, which would cause the MACD to cross over the signal, so the yellow to cross over the blue, that to me could be a really good buy signal to take. The one thing that I hadn't noticed before that maybe I'd be cautious about is there's a series of higher lows here while the MACD itself, if you see the yellow line, is moving downward. So, I'd be careful of that a little bit. That said, we're looking at the lows there, but at the same time, the highs are basically coming down a little bit. So it's just kind of like doing a mini flag out on the 1 day here, it looks like. So we might be okay because the tops are coming down and the MACD is following the downward trend of the top. So it might be okay. At first I just thought, oh no, have I missed something really important? But it's probably okay because on the bullish divergence, you want to look at the bottoms. On the bearish divergence, you're looking at the tops. So we're probably okay there. Thanks for hanging in there while I talk to myself through that. Okay, so a quick recap. So MA20 has crossed over the 50, continuing to diverge. RSI is in a good spot right around 50, and the MACD is sort of in its infancy, but a cross of the yellow over the blue would be a good buy signal at this point, given the other factors, in my opinion. JD, which I used to play a lot, so I haven't played in a long time, and I thought, I should look at that. So it's got a couple of things happening here. So it's in this downward channel that it's been holding since, say, April 5th. So about a week of trading days. And, it's right now toward the bottom of the down channel, so it's sort of like in the saddest of its sad positions. But there's a couple of things that may be working in its favor. One, obviously the RSI is in a really good position. It's low, but you would expect that anyway, being that it's at the bottom of a down channel. So no issue there. The valleys, so these red valleys, so this one got pretty deep. So you'll see my cursor line that cuts across there, that makes that minus 0.34 on the right hand side. That is deeper than the subsequent red valleys. And so to me, the selling strength is losing pressure. You also see that as the yellow is starting to close in on the blue, so it's going to cross over, I believe, in the near future. The green are holding steady. So it's sort of like the green hills are holding steady while the red valleys are losing strength. So it's not the most powerful setup, but you got to understand it's also in a downtrend, so it's not as though it's got the wind at its back. So, that being said, this could be a turning point in the coming days for JD. The other thing to look at is there's a double gap here. Back-to-back gaps that cover almost the exact same space. And so I would look for it to come up and fill that. And if it does, it's going to get darn close to breaking the channel, if not breaking the channel, based on that push up to, over 82. And if it gets there and it can establish support over the channel, then I'd be looking for it to come up and fill this mini gap, which isn't super interesting, but it would have to pass through this in order to fill this interesting gap right here, which would bring it all the way up over 85. So that would be a good increase in the coming days. So, that's what I would be looking for. If it can get a good push off here, cross on the MACD, the RSI is like not an issue at this point. Start to fill those first gaps, get to 82, bounce out of the channel, and then continue to march up to 85 to fill the other gaps as well. That's my look on JD. And CrowdStrike, which I don't think we've covered before, but I've watched quite a bit, is in this upward channel currently. So it's been in here since, say, March 29th, and has done a good job holding it. It's, the MA20 is holding space over the MA50 pretty well. It had a chance to cross underneath it here and it didn't, and it's continued to grow its real estate since then. It's in the lower half of the channel right now, so it might offer a good bottom of the channel or lower half of the channel dip buying opportunity. So the one thing that I would look out for that I highlighted here in this white box, just so I wouldn't forget, so I'm going to delete that, but it's this red line. So these are higher highs, okay? At the same time that these higher highs are being made, if you look at the MACD, if you look at the yellow number over there toward the left, you'll see it's 1.69. And then when it made the higher high, the MACD was at 1.3. What you would want is the MACD to track higher with the buying pressure that's pushing the price higher. And when it doesn't, like we were talking about before, which I thought that I had missed in the other stock, was, we call this one a bearish divergence. So the stock price is going up even though the buying pressure is diminishing. And we also see that in sort of like the hills coming down here. So, this one to me is going to be a battle of channel versus MACD. The RSI is sort of at the midpoint. It's not a huge factor right now. It's not incredibly high. It's not incredibly low. But if it did get toward the bottom of the channel, then it would be in really good territory, nearing oversold territory on the RSI. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out. But those are sort of like what I see as the potential upsides of this one. But I love channels. It's just the moral of the story. But I would be cautious of what's going on with that MACD to see how it plays out. Yeah. All right. So that'll do it. IPOE, CLOV, JD, and CrowdStrike. All right. So no matter what you're trading, I wish you the best of luck. I hope everyone had a good week and has a good week ahead. And I appreciate you watching. Please share, and subscribe if you haven't yet. And I will see you in the next video.